This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a topic. And Sarah, what are we talking about this week?
Well, you know how we talked a few weeks ago, like actually a couple months ago, how we were like, maybe we should do gorges about stuff that aren't video games. And then we kind of just did like gorges about video games for like 6 months. We're fixing that. We're talking about Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, but also a little bit Season 1.
Yeah.
Because Mob Psycho 100 is easily one of, if not the best anime of the decade. What's up?
This is weird to say, but I'm so proud of one.
I know! What a hero!
This man got 3 entire seasons of some of the best animation I've ever seen in anything ever.
And also Season 2 of One Punch Man.
Yes,
womp womp.
But, yeah. But like, I mean,
yeah.
For admittedly, yes, let's just be honest, the webcomic versions of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho aren't the most high quality.
That's not true though.
So One Punch Man was
Punch Man is his goofy. It's very
comic. Very simple squiggly scribbles and stuff. But Mob is a lot better.
Mob is incredible. Honest to God, because I was looking to get ready for this episode, there are panels from the manga that even Bones is maybe the greatest animation studio of our time, and even Bones couldn't quite capture the atmosphere in certain panels of the manga. I think one has an incredible, and I think that's what drew why like Mob Psycho feels like such a passion project, because like Mob Psycho's manga is like masterclass in atmosphere and paneling, and a lot of emotion gets evoked very simply, and so like really, you can see what drew Bones to it, to be like, oh, this is something like really worth adapting and making something really special. And there are, I haven't read through the full manga, I haven't had the time. I'm probably gonna buy it after tonight. Yeah.
It's one of those, I guess, like the way I could put it is that one puts for a shonen author, one puts a lot of emphasis on stuff that other shonen don't.
Yeah.
In both his art and his writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what makes it like really, really stand out.
It's so just, God, Mob Psycho 100 is so, there's nothing like it out there right now, and maybe not for a really long time, because just the quality on display is I have no idea how they managed to wrench that degree of quality from a TV series. This isn't a movie or an OVA, although we are getting an OVA. It's not a movie or an OVA. It is just it's a weekly TV show, and the degree of quality in some episodes, I'm mostly thinking of the Mogami fight and all of episode 11, 12, and 13.
Well, what we get with this is this amazing blend of like different art styles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
my God.
Not just in the way of like the art style shifts, or like, oh, you can like in other shonen it's like, oh, you can tell when this animator took over because you can see their signature in there. Yeah. Like we're seeing like in a single frame, we're seeing 3 different art styles interacting with each other.
It's incredible. I feel like season 2. I think season 2 was more focused on like. Well, that's not true because the Mogami arc exists. I was gonna say, I feel like Season 2 didn't have as much, like, artistic weirdness going on as Season 1. Season 1 has a lot of those really great sequences of stuff being painted on glass. I'm thinking of the ghost that's at when Mob has to dress like a girl.
Yes, that one, I just watched that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
that is an animation technique where you're using oil paints on glass, and you're capturing that, and then you're moving the paint around on glass again, and there's a specific artist at Bones who does that. It's a woman whose name I don't know right now. I'm really sorry. She's really talented, and that's the artist responsible for those sequences, and the ending sequences of the first season were all done by her. And funny story, I love this story. Just to prove, because like the running joke is that everybody at Bones is like super horny for Reagan, and it shows.
It super shows.
It shows super hard,
especially in that ending,
because the animator went around and asked all the women at Bones, "What is the sexiest way a guy can hold a cigarette?" And so that is why you have that one really specific shot of Reagan lighting his cigarette in the first ED. Is because everybody at Bones is insanely horny for Reagan Arataka.
You get that really good comparison between the manga and the anime when it's after Reagan does the massage.
Yes.
And the anime gives this loving, like, him of him, like, slicking his hair back and sweat glistens off of him.
And he's so handsome and his sleeves
and then in the manga, it's just a single panel of him, like, looking like a gremlin, like
I'm thinking a lot of the shot in the last 2 or 3 episodes. The last 3 episodes are just one big long episode in my brain. Like one of that one shot in the last 2 or 3 episodes where he's got the gun, and it is like, this is the most lovingly rendered panel in any anime ever, because somebody at Bones was like, Reagan with a gun is sexy, and so it looks great, but then you see that fucking manga panel and the gun is just a box. It's just a square. I love it.
I love the slight meme of it's that picture of the child in the bed. And it's the soldier, like, kneeling and taking all the knives.
Bombs and knives, yeah.
It's like Reagan taking all the horny energy, and, like, the kid in the bed is all the female characters in Mob Psycho 100.
All the female characters and all the underage children in Mob Psycho 100.
It's not so much that, like, there's no fan service for them, but it's the idea that there has to be fan service, and Reagan is willingly taking it, sacrificing
he's
himself.
Holding that burden. He is shouldering it entirely on his own. I love it. I love it so much. It is the funniest joke in Mob Psycho 100, and is just like how hot Bones made Reagan Arataka. Because it is really funny. Like, you watch the show, and you're like, huh, I'm kind of into it. And then you, like, actually look up the manga, and you're like, what the fuck is going on in Bones? It's hysterical.
It's like that whole different matter of just, like, perspective, how that can change a character.
Once you get to know a character, you're suddenly like, he isn't a horrible gremlin anymore. He's the perfect man. And it's true, Reagan Arataka is the perfect man. They're right. Oh, God. Man, season 2 is so good.
It's so good.
Just thinking of Reagan, I'm just thinking of, like, the separation arc with him and Mob, and I'm just like, season 2 is so good.
I think like you said, the big difference between season 1 and 2 is that 1 was a lot more, I guess, experimental.
Yeah.
With a lot of its things, like its art style, it's because I watched I finished season 2 and then I immediately went and watched season 1 again.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh, there's little things in, like, the presentation.
Yeah.
The eye catches are different between them, and it's like, oh, different art styles occasionally. Excuse me. Oh, these little things, like, stand out, and you notice them when you watch it back to back, and you're like, oh, I can see where they decided to change up the formula a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, season 1, its story, like, its primary arc doesn't kick in until, like, the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, no.
It's mostly, like,
it's mostly just slice of life stuff, yeah.
It's 9 episodic episodes and then there's a story arc, whereas in season 2 the story arc is a bit more like peppered along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's still like, you know, like things lead up to things, you know.
Yeah, it's an actual more serial storyline. And you know, you're right that the animation, not to say that the animation quality decreased, if anything it massively improved. Holy shit. But the styles being utilized are more uniform, and I think that's mostly because season 2 is really about like focusing on the theme and not the art, because it's about like, I mean, like, yeah, at the end of the day, what is Mob Psycho 100 about? It's about empathy. And like they really wanted you to make sure you knew that by the end of it. Was that like you will feel regret for your life and you will learn to empathize with people, damn it. Because that is really what the whole season is just about. It's about like learning empathy and learning to consider everybody around you, and God, it's so well done.
The whole series is about that.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Like that's what really, I think that's what makes it stand out, because you get a lot of shonen that are about the power of friendship and all that, and that's all well and good, but Mob does it in like such a more unique and grounded way, like a more relatable, like immediately relatable way, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Like, because it is about a lot of that slice of life stuff, you know? And so you get you know, real social situations that are kind of masked in this super powerful, like, you know, character. But you can still be like, oh yeah, I know what that situation is like.
Yeah, absolutely. It because I mean, like, that is what it all boils down to at the end of the day, is that Mob is god tier. He has a level of power that really can't be rivaled by anyone, even like the insanely powerful final villain of the show. But like, what does any of that matter? Like, ultimately none of that improves his life. It just makes his life more complicated. Like, that's all the show is about, is that like nobody is special, so everybody is, and you know, the thing that you think makes you great really can't do anything for you sometimes if you can't learn to navigate your social situations, you know?
It's literally the first line of the first opening.
I know,
if everyone is not special, maybe you can be what you want to be.
It's so good! It's so good! I love the OPs. They're
the second one is so fucking good too.
It's so catchy. The first one, I like the like weird, I can't say that. I like both of them so much. I couldn't tell you which one I like more. I think I like the first one's animation more, just because I like all the weird flashy shit going on. But 99.9 is the catchiest fucking song ever written right now. I can't stop listening to it. I think I've listened to the second OP like 200 times at this point. I just like drive. I'm like, yeah.
It's so addicting.
It's addicting. And like, shit, even that OP is beautiful. God, why is the animation in this show so good?
I love my favorite shot in the second opening is the shot where it's the Body Improvement Club on the top.
Yes.
Or not the Body Improvement Club. It's the psychic kids on the top.
Oh, yeah.
And the Telepathy Club on the bottom. And they're like doing a really half-hearted, like kind of like dazed wave. Like their arms aren't even going up all the way. Do
you understand how absurd the sequence of everybody falling over is? Like, do you even grasp how like insanely complicated drawing that must be to have those like that falling backward proportion repeat over and over again?
Right, like not just them rising up, but rising up and falling backwards in like a unique animation for every single character.
One of them. It's absurd. It is. This whole podcast is going to be an hour of me going, animation. Because it's beautiful. I mean, like, there are so many shots in this show that are just unreal. The entire Mogami arc is insane. And actually, it's really weird. The animation director for the second episode of the Mogami arc, or the third episode, I don't remember, the one where he's inside Mogami's head, that animator is from Korea, and he won't be working for a while because military service in Korea is mandatory. So he had to go off to Korea to do that, and so he's going to be out of commission for a while. Whoops. So yeah, that whole, God, the Mogami arc stands out so much. It's just like,
I think,
so good.
Like each arc, I guess there's the Mogami, the separation, and then the final arc. Like really, because the final arc is what, the last 5 episodes.
Yeah, it starts with the right after the separation arc. It starts at the end of the marathon. Like, you know, the marathon is a breather episode from separation.
Yeah. And then things go horrible.
And then things go extremely wrong, and boy, is Dimple not like our Ekubo. I don't know. Sometimes the fandom calls him Ekubo. Sometimes they call him Dimple. I lean toward Dimple just because, like, you know.
That's what the subtitles say.
That's what the subtitles say. But yeah, no, like the incredible fast thinking on Dimple's part to be like, wait, no, they're fake bodies,
right?
Because otherwise it would have been the literal end of creation. Is great.
I love that. I love that because at first it's Dimple is like, oh wait, no, they're fake. It's a hallucinate. You know, it's a trick, a psychic trick. And then later on, like Dimple's talking to Reagan, and it's like, that was quick thinking, Dimple. And then you go, oh shit.
Oh,
wait,
no.
What?
And then fortunately Reagan also thinks that they're alive and well, which is good. And it's true. Mom and Dad Kageyama are just off at a resort somewhere. Yeah. Just goofing off, eating fish. Sure.
But I also do love how quick one was to just give us that, so we don't have to think about it for the rest of the season. Yeah,
thank you. They're fine. Don't worry about it.
They're fine. It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was just in tears. Maybe the cutest part of the entire season is the bit where, like, you know, Mom's been on a warpath, and then Reagan's like, no, Dimple's right. Your parents are fine. And he just, like, collapses. Yeah. And he's just so, you could just, God, again, the character animation in this show is amazing. Because he just collapses, and you can just see, like, all the relief all over his tiny little baby face. And I'm just like, oh, my sweet boy. My boy. I'm so proud of my boy. That's the problem, is that I've, like, imprinted, like, a mama duck on all of these characters. And I don't know what I'm going to do with my life now, because all that's left is an OVA. And I'm like, what am I going to do with myself now that Mob Psycho is over?
Just read the manga. Just
read the manga, and that's it.
Because the manga, you don't get this in the anime, but the manga has that really cute 4-koma where Baby Mob gets an umbrella.
Yes! And then doesn't want the water to touch his umbrella. Yeah. So he just keeps a little psychic bubble around his umbrella. That's so cute. Baby Mob, you could weaponize Baby Mob with its cuteness. Like laser guided pictures of Baby Mob. Boy,
they really beat you over the head with that flashback, though, didn't they?
It's so cute.
The Mob and Reagan first meeting.
Yeah, it's fine.
You see it like 3 times.
You see it a lot, and I never actually got tired of it ever.
No, it's great.
Because I'm just like, this is a baby, and I would do anything to protect this baby.
And it's so great because one of the things I really love about Mob and One Punch Man too. Is that these characters could easily go in a different direction.
Yeah.
And one doesn't do that. Like, Reagan could be a scumbag. Dimple could be a maniacal, like, villain who are just manipulating Mob, and, oh, that's the joke.
Right.
But, no. The first thing Reagan says to Mob is, like, gives him the most affirming life advice ever.
Even though he doesn't even realize that he is giving this insanely affirming advice to this little toddler.
Right?
This child.
Like, all he's doing is seeing this kid who he probably thinks is either it's a prank or it's like some kid who doesn't understand what he's going through.
He's got like I think Reagan says he thinks he has an overactive imagination is what he says. He just thinks he has psychic powers.
Yeah, and then he's just like, well, whatever.
But then he humors him. It's so cute.
And that's why he says, like, no, the most important thing you can do is just be a nice person.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like the what makes Reagan's con artistry like a palatable thing is that all of the con artistry kind of comes from like a decent place.
He's benevolent. It's benevolent conning.
It's benevolent conning. Yeah.
It's kind of that situation where, like, you know, he's humoring the people who come to him and he's fixing their problems, but he's pretending that they solved it, you know?
And it's also just like, even though some of these problems are kind of ridiculous, the idea that, you know, somebody actually is taking your ridiculous problems seriously it's nice, you know?
Yeah.
Even though you think you know, a lot of people maybe tell you that, this thing you're seeing or going through is just like a nothing thing. Reagan is like, no, I will hear your problem out and we will do what we can to solve it. And then also you learn that he's really not ripping people off, like in the first episode or the second episode when they go deal with the creeper ghost thing, the crawler, the shambler, whatever that thing is.
What's it called? The Snagger or something?
Snatcher? No,
Not
that's a
Snatcher.
Kojima game.
That's a game. That's a Hideo Kojima game.
It's a very good video.
The Grabbers.
The Grabber.
I don't know, something like that. But yeah.
When they go to deal with the urban legend ghost thing, you hear, like, they mention the other psychics' prices, and they're insane. They're like 10 times as much as what Reagan charges. And so you're like, oh, he isn't even ripping people off. He's just, like, making some scratch and solving people's problems. Like, his fucking sea salt massage thing actually does work.
Yeah, he
it works.
He does erase the blotch that's in the photograph.
He's not technically ripping anybody off.
No.
He's just, you know, sometimes having to fudge things a little by using mob. Yeah. It's fine. Look, it's fine.
Which, like, makes it even... Which makes the separation arc, like, into a much more of, like, a tragedy rather than, like, oh, look at this guy finally getting what's coming to him, you know? Yeah. Because when Reagan sees the guy come out and he's like, oh, this guy's clearly not possessed, but we're on TV, so I'll just do my thing and he'll pick up the cue to stop. Yeah. And then it was all a setup to prove him wrong, you know, to expose Reagan as a scam. Mm-hmm.
No, but by the way, that degree of, like, impending secondhand embarrassment should be illegal.
Oh,
like,
it's awful.
Somebody at Bones needs to go to jail.
I hate it. It was so wrong.
I hate it so much. I'm just, like, crawling out of my skin the whole time I'm watching that episode. Like, no, this isn't happening. I thought I was going to die.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's so bad. Because you just know. You just know it's coming. Like, like the other shoe is going to fall. And it's like, oh, he's been at this for like 45 minutes. And you're like, no.
And, you know, and like, the thing is, the way that was resolved was one did it the worst way possible.
Yeah.
By having the other guy be like, well, he wasn't really possessed, so what were you doing?
Oh.
You know, when it could have been like, I have snapped my fingers and the guy is cured of his possession. And it's like, that still would have embarrassed Reagan.
But
it would have...
And then Reagan just been like, oh, I guess you're a stronger psychic than me. Yeah. But no, that's like a definitive, you are not a psychic, bro.
Yeah, that's just like the ultimate...
humiliation.
Just like, oh.
You just want to throw up. You're like, no more, please.
And the crazy thing about Reagan, like, as a character again, is that the thing he said to Mob that got them to split up wasn't really that mean.
it was really thoughtless.
Yeah, it was mean, but it was again, Reagan was still like he didn't have the full story, and he thought he was helping out Mob, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's that thing of just like, I don't know though, because that is such like a thing of like, you can say something like really thoughtless to a person, and that's that empathy thing that we're going back to in the season, is like, you can say something and maybe even technically it's coming from like a decent place in your heart, but like really, no, Reagan was 100% in the wrong. He hasn't been paying Mob as much. He's been capitalizing on his time. He was in the wrong, and he said a really hurtful thing because Mob was like, the problem is that Mob is like right at that brink of like, oh, I have friends and people like me. And then Reagan is like, they're probably just using you. And it's like, no, that's actually a really shitty thing to say to somebody. And you deserved what you got, is the thing. Like, Reagan 100% deserved what you got. But, you know, it's just a thing of, like, he learned his lesson.
Yeah,
I love the part in the separation arc where you realize that, like, oh, Reagan can function perfectly fine without Mob.
Right. He can do his job.
Because he's a grown man. That's the thing, is you have to understand, Reagan Arataka is 28 years old. Mob is like 13?
Yeah,
he's a
in middle
grown
school.
Man. He should be able to function on his own without a kid helping him, and he does. And it's like, oh, you know, Reagan is, he's getting on his own feet. He realizes, like, oh, I'm going down a bad path. I love that scene. I'm going down a bad path is a great scene. And he's like, well, I will pull my shit together, and I'm not going to, like, overly rely on Mob, because that was the wrong thing to do, and it goes against what he was even saying, like, at the end of season 1. Like, you know, Reagan isn't perfect, and that just makes him more likable as a character. Reagan and Mob are basically perfect in this show. Like, they are not just my favorite characters in the show, because of course they're everybody's favorite characters in the show. They're some of the best. They're so well written. Both of them. I mean, shit. Man.
I mean, like, and it's just like the whole separation arc being based, it's like being based off of more of a misunderstanding than Mob realizing or like coming to the conclusion that Reagan is manipulating him. More of just like, hey, I need, like, Mob, like, and Mob getting on fine, and Reagan not being jealous of that, but being just like, oh, all right, I guess this was pretty one-sided then. I guess Mob, you know, I guess I didn't understand Mob enough. And God, that whole press conference.
Actually, the press conference is the best part, because Reagan, even before Mob, like, does his thing,
he
handles it like a champ, man.
Oh my God,
owning it.
He was so crushing it.
It's so good. Even when people are, he's just like, they're like, will you show your, they say something like, will you, if you are a psychic, will you display it right now? And he's like, no, because that wouldn't satisfy you, so I'm not going to do it. So, right, like, he dodges, like, being made to look like a fool, just, like, perfectly.
Yeah, because he knows, because he's that person. Like, it goes back to the episode in the first season where Mob almost gets tricked into buying that vase.
Yes.
And Reagan comes in, and the guy grabs him, and Reagan, like, collapses, like, you broke my collarbone!
yeah.
And now you're yelling at me, and now I'm suing you.
That's another 200,000 yen for emotional trauma. You owe me, so that comes out to the cost of the vase, so why don't we call it even? Yay!
So good.
So good.
Yeah, so
then
that leads to the conference where he's just like, he knows what these people are trying to get out of him.
Yeah, because it's the kind of thing he is like an expert at getting out of other people, and he's just he knows how to handle it, and it's great. The part where he realizes, like, oh no, I shouldn't try to talk to these idiots on the internet. That's just gonna make me crazy, and he steps away from it. It's like, that's the right thing to do, you know? Like, handles it like a champ, man. That's the best part, is like, it could have been so much more embarrassing, is what I'm saying.
Right, and I think that's also just like what makes this so good, is that no, Reagan didn't like lose his job or didn't become like a total laugh. Like, he still made it out pretty good. So there wasn't any, like, the only thing that needed to be recovered was his relationship with Mob, which was the only thing that mattered anyway.
Right.
And so, like, I just think that's really good writing and good characterization and tone for this whole series.
Setting. Yeah. It's like, even if Mob hadn't done what he does and throws the whole, conference into disarray, it's just like Reagan would have come out of it fine.
Yeah.
Like, he handled the press conference like a champ. People would be like, oh, you would have people who like him just because he talked shit to some reporters, He would come out of it fine. He'd probably set up he'd either keep doing the spirits and stuff thing, or he'd set up another scam, and he would just keep on chugging along. So, ultimately, the outcome of the press conference for Reagan doesn't matter. Like, the only thing that matters is apologizing to and repairing his relationship with Mob, and being like, yeah, I did a bad thing. I said something really heartless that, if Mob hadn't been, like, at the point in his development that he's at that point in season, like, if it was like early season 1 Mob and Reagan had said something like that, it would have completely, like, thrown all of Mob's, like, progress into becoming a self-actualized person into disarray. And that's what makes it so heartless, is like, if Mob wasn't at the place in his life where he was, that could have done a lot of damage. But instead, he was a more mature person. He was able to say, hey, you just said a really shitty thing to me, and I'm gonna go for a while until you sort yourself out. And Reagan realizes that. He's like, oh, I could have really, done some actual damage to this kid, which is not a thing he's ever wanted. He's always been very, like, Mob is a child. It's not Mob's place to right the wrongs of adults.
Which is the best moment of season 1.
It's the best theme. The problem is that Mob Psycho 100 has kind of punched a hole in other shonen for me. Where
by taking that whole thing, Mob Psycho 100 does the thing that, like, no other shonen has ever really pointed out, which is, hey, it's kind of fucked up that all these adults are beating the shit out of these kids.
Yeah, why are you hurting these babies? It's not the place of a 14-year-old boy to save the world. Like, it points out, like, hey, it's actually really screwed up for all of these adults to put these expectations of really adult things, like fighting and hurting people, on the shoulders of a bunch of children. Like, that's actually really messed up. And Mob Psycho and Reagan, like, really point that out. Like, you are a kid. This is not your responsibility. This isn't your fight. You should be at home watching cartoons. And, that's what Reagan was doing to Mob. I mean, he was kind of putting that burden on Mob and saying, like, hey, these people are shit. You should just keep hanging out with me. And he realized he was wrong, and you get, like, the single best moment in season 2 where he looks at the camera and he says, you've really grown, haven't you?
So
good!
So good.
I can cry just thinking about it. Oh, no! Oh, God. I bawled so hard at that line. It was gross. I mean, it was gross. We always talk about how my crying habits on this show are gross. Boy. Yeah.
Boy, that one in particular, just...
It's so punchy.
I don't know. I just like that idea of just saying something on air to everyone. You don't even know if Mob's watching.
Right. But of course
just like,
watching.
Yeah,
you've really grown, haven't you? It's such a good line. So gentle. So sweet. It's like, oh man. It's like that moment where Reagan's just like, oh, right. You're like a person who's become all, like, self-actualized. You're independent. You have friends and a life. You don't really need me, like that kind of, it's that parental thing. And we'll talk for a second in a minute about Reagan as a father figure, because a lot of people think they're clever when they're like, Reagan is, Mom already has a dad. Well, yeah, but you can have a father figure and a father, dumbass.
I just think, have you ever see that post where it's like Mob comes to Reagan and he's like, I have a parent-teacher conference, so I want people to come to work, and Reagan's like, all right, well, what time is it so I can show up? And Mob's like, no, my dad is gonna be there.
Yeah. Like, Mob already has, I guess we're talking about this now, whatever. Mob already has a dad, but you can have in stories like another father figure, because there are clearly things that Mob does not feel comfortable talking to his actual dad about. The whole reason he was at Reagan's place when he was like 9 was because, there was stuff he couldn't talk to his dad about, like the psychic powers thing. Nobody else could understand that than what he thought was another psychic. So
right, exactly.
So in that way, Reagan is an authoritative figure who takes care of Mob and is very concerned with like his development as a person and into an responsible adult who can take care of himself. And all of that makes Reagan a father figure. Like,
there's literally a moment in season 1 at the end where when they go in, when Reagan appears, when Mob, Teru, and Ritsu are fighting the rest of the Claw, and Reagan appears and says, as the current guardian of these 3 kids.
These small children.
Yeah.
They're children. Yeah, and so you have that moment of going back to, end of separation arc. That moment where Reagan's like, oh, you're like becoming a person, like an adult now, and you don't actually need me. And that kind of sucks because you're my friend and I care a lot about you, but also, like, I'm a 28-year-old man and you're a 13-year-old boy, and I'm really proud of you for learning to be an individual on your own without my help. And it's like, oh man, that's really good.
You know what that's called? That's called good writing.
You know what that's called? Growth. Growth with the hand gesture. Oh man, yeah, so good. This show's so good.
There's so many, like, I just love how heartfelt everything in this entire show is.
I know.
I'm still thinking about the first episode with the book.
Oh.
The story the girl was writing, Emmy was writing.
Oh my god.
And when Mob's in tears picking it up, like, you shouldn't throw away things that are important to you.
You shouldn't throw away things that are important to you. It's such a good moment, and that whole sequence of the and that's one of those panels that's even it is beautiful in the anime, and it is that much more beautiful in the manga, because one really is truly a genius of tone and atmosphere and kind of creating these really magical moments on the page. It's just beautiful. All the pages coming together, and it's just like, hey, like, you should really take care of these things that are important to you, even if everybody else thinks. And I actually do really like the fact that she doesn't really tell her friends off. She's just kind of like, no, I'll catch up to you guys. Like, she's just shrugging them off. It's not like, oh, how could you do this? Oh, I realized that Mob is right and you're wrong. She's really just more like, why don't you guys keep going? I don't actually think I need you to validate me. And that is actually a way colder way, a way more realistic way to brush off a shitty friend.
And then you get that shot of them, like, poorly drawn.
Yeah. Because they are so small now. They are nothing. They're insignificant now. Yeah. Mob Psycho 100 is going to teach you to be empathetic, man.
It's going to teach you to care about things.
You're going to care about people and the stuff you love and all of your friends. And you're even going to learn to care about your brother's sort of friend's shitty dad, which was great. The bit at the end where Mob is sitting in the bubble with Toichiro. I know his last name is Suzuki, but I think his first name is Toichiro. The bit where he's just sitting in the bubble with Suzuki is so good, because it's just like, man, it'd be really, really shitty for you to just blow yourself up all alone right here. So I'm gonna sit here with you. It's like,
yeah.
Man, that's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's so good. It's
also, the animation in that sequence is really, really beautiful too.
God, this show is so fucking good with its animation and with its heart.
I know.
Can't deal with it.
I'm like going through the Rolodex in my brain of just like amazing sequences.
I can't.
And
okay,
it's all of them.
So like, I know we keep jumping around, but like it's impossible to focus.
No, because there's a lot going on in this show too.
The Mogami arc where he's in the hallucination.
Yeah. And
I just love that it's Dimple who pops in and is like, "Hey, what are you doing here?
What you doing,
Reagan's
what you doing, buddy?
Out there. Reagan's waiting for you." And Mob, who had forgotten all that, like, yeah. I love when it's just like a little casual thing that like brings the character back like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's so, and then you get the shot where Dimple reminds him of the Body Improvement Club. And Mom just explodes.
Dimple's like, maybe tone it back a little bit.
Maybe not like that.
Maybe not that buff, my friend. Oh my god! And when the captain of the Body Improvement Club gets possessed by Dimple, and when he's protecting Mob, oh my god, Captain! I was screaming the whole episode, like the whole sequence where he's just like, he's on top of Mob, and he's like Kageyama is always trying his hardest. He's always behind us, but he's always like sticking with us, and it gives us like, it motivates us, and it's like, Captain! You're amazing!
Okay, I just gotta for a minute talk about again how fucking great this series is, because the Body Improvement Club are
amazing.
The nicest people in the world.
They're so nice. Oh my god. I also love that they fold Onigawara into it's so great. It's fucking pompadour having punk middle schooler. It's just like he just gets roped into being buff with the rest of the Body Improvement Club. You see him running with them, and he can't keep up either.
And because no one else will take him, and then but they let him in, and they let the telepathy club just hang out.
I know.
They only needed the room. Whatever,
they just
you
want
can
the space. It's fine.
If you guys want to hang out, that's fine. You can take care of Mob when he passes out.
It's so good. It'd be so, like, man, they're just so damn wholesome, like, constantly.
If any other manga author were to take these characters, it would feel way more cynical, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and again, it's the same thing with One Punch Man, where, like, if you're doing a superhero parody, the obvious joke is to make the superheroes cowardly or incompetent or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, like, no, just because Saitama's the strongest in One Punch Man doesn't mean the others aren't trying their hardest too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, one's whole thing is about, like, both his series are about try your hardest.
Yeah, like, just do your best, man, and, you know, sometimes you'll come out on top, and sometimes you pass out in the middle of the marathon. You know? And it's fine. It's just about, like, doing your best. Ganbatte.
But no, I do love that bit where Dimple is possessing the captain.
Yeah, and he's like heart, and he's like actual muscle is so much better than psychic muscle.
Yeah, again, because it's hard work pays off.
Real work. You actually had to try.
Yeah, all the time that he spent working out and training, like, has actually paid off better than this guy who is powered by like the cheap way, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's that whole, it goes back again to, or like when the whole, like all the Scars and Teru are fighting Shimazaki, and there's that really great moment after Teru slugs him in the face. He's like, "You're just a guy. I could beat you." You know? Yeah. It's true. Shimazaki is terrifying, and like once he gets overwhelmed, he's just a guy. Yeah. Reagan punches him in the face with his in what is maybe the greatest moment in season 2.
Self-defense punch.
Self-defense punch. This is the technique where Reagan screams self-defense when he isn't sure it's self-defense, or whatever that line from the narrator is.
Okay, so other thing is Mob Psycho 100 has probably the best narrator ever. I love that it's very clearly just a much older man like calmly narrating the most absurd things. He's got such like a calm, gentle voice, and he's saying so stuff like, "This is a technique where Reagan throws store-bought salt at a spirit's face."
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny, man.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about with this.
It's a huge problem.
It really is.
Problem. Like, I'm trying to like get my thoughts in order, and I can't because I just keep jumping back and forth between scenes. The bit before Mogami, where the episode where they have to try to exorcise that ghost family, and Mob just can't. His teeth are chattering because it's something he doesn't want to do, but he's really afraid to speak up for himself. Is a really good sequence.
That really episode's good. So good. And again, Reagan looking out for him.
Yeah. But also you kind of see the seeds of like of separation coming, where it's like, oh, I was so caught up in my own work that I didn't realize the stress this was genuinely putting on Mob. And it's those little moments, they build up. It's like you weren't paying attention close enough, and those moments build up to an explosion, even at what is a pretty innocuous insult that can usually just be brushed off with, no, they're fine, they're cool, they're my friends. Those can build up. It's a build up to explosion. That's what the whole show is, right? It's ticking over to 100. Like, these little things all add up until you're just like, I think I've had enough of you right now. That's really that's what's going on there, is even though Reagan does the right thing then,
it takes him a while to get there, and that's the problem.
And it's putting a lot of undue burden on, again, a 13, 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
It's really good. I love that scene.
Really good.
I love, God, the animation every single time Dimple possesses somebody is amazing! Why is it so cool? The part where, like, Dimple is fighting, Mogami with Mob's body?
And he's
Shut up!
He's doing, like, the most amazing, like, martial arts anime shit you've ever seen.
It's the most Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee, Spike Spiegel bullshit in the world. And it's like, where did this come from?
Fucking flowing like water.
It's
and like,
so cool.
And like, I just watched the original Dimple fight. He doesn't fight like that.
He doesn't fight like that at all. But because he's in like a more like limber body, he can do that. It's like he's got Mob's like face like grinning like a little crazy person the whole time because he's having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So
all of the animation in Mogami is like the best part of season 2, in a season that is just mind-boggling. And I know, I was talking with Saturn from Big Gay Nerds about Mogami, and I know that the bit where he's stuck in Mogami's head is way more, 1, extensive, and 2, way more brutal in the manga, which is a reason to read the manga, to get a completely different experience. And I understand, like, a lot of people were mad that was cut. But ultimately it doesn't really serve. Bones was trying to tell a different... They were going after a theme, and they pursued that theme relentlessly.
We got enough of Mob's mental torture to get where we needed to be.
Yeah.
When Dimple arrives.
You don't have to kill the cat, which is what happens in the manga.
Right.
They kill the cat. And everybody was afraid for the cat. And it's like, they didn't want to kill the cat. I don't blame them. I don't like seeing dead animals in anime either. So I understand why they cut it down. It's like, you don't have to show the full extent of the suffering to get the feeling across.
And because they wanted to put more emphasis on the battle anyway.
Which is bonkers! Oh my god. One shonen pretty boy mob is amazing every single time. He's so pretty.
It's so crazy how he looks like a completely different character.
He's so pretty. It's so funny to me. I love when he first does shonen pretty boy mob and Dimple is like, wait, who are you? Good question. Who is this? And the amount of work that had to go into that fight.
I just love that, like, the first thing we get in the first season is a preview of that battle. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes around, it's completely different.
Completely different. Oh, that's right. That is technically what's going on in season 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the start, that's the Mogami fight. Man. Yeah. Man, I'm glad you rewatched season 1 lately. I rewatched it, but not as recently as you. I know you did it like 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. Man, oh shit, you're right. Boy, it's so much better the second time around.
Right.
Even though it's really good the first time around. Yeah, just that whole conclusion. And, oh man, Mogami shows back up!
Yeah.
I didn't expect it.
That was, I think he pops up again later in the manga, but I'm not sure.
I gotta read that.
I gotta read it now.
I gotta buy it. I'm gonna read it and buy it. The whole bit where he has, what's that plant guy? I don't know his name. It's like Minigishi or something like that. Just when he shows up, it's like, I was just like, it's that motherfucker, oh no! He's so scary when he shows up.
He's terrifying.
And his whole, like, plant golem thing he does is horrifying. But it scares that dude straight. Yeah,
I mean, it works. It gets the job done.
God. Please say you're sorry and Mogami won't kill you. Just apologize, otherwise this, like, psychopath is gonna tear you apart. So cool. Mob's the goodest boy.
Mob's a great boy. He's so good. Just when he stops the guys looting.
Oh my god, that whole speech is great.
Yeah.
Mob is just gonna make you regret every decision you've ever made.
I just, like, it's I don't know, like, I just love that, like, again, the other thing is that, like, Bob turned all the Scar guys into good guys.
He took away their scars, too! Yeah. I guess he could just do that. Bob is on another level. So, actually, that makes a lot of sense, now that I think about it. Because I like that bit after the house burns, where he's like, you really think a power like that exists? And Dimple's like, sure, I mean, you've seen all kinds of crazy things. It has to exist, right? And then Mob immediately learns how to do it.
Right?
It's like, oh, Mob can just do anything. That's the...
And they even had that bit early on where they were fighting the plant spirit.
Yeah.
With the vines, and he's like, oh, he's controlling the vines by possessing them. I wonder if I can do that. And then he does it.
He just immediately does it.
and then Reagan's like, yes, you figured it out. That was exactly what I wanted you to do.
That was what I was teaching you to do. You can do anything. You figured out my perfect plan. Isaac Dean. That's who I think of.
Oh my god, you're right, though.
Mm-hmm. Isaac Dean is, how many times have I put your life in danger? Only 97 times.
Yeah, it hasn't even been 100.
Oh my god, you're right. We should talk about Baccano sometime.
We should rewatch Baccano and then talk about Baccano.
Yeah, I have those. I still have those. I don't own like a lot of DVDs. Not to get off on a tangent here. I don't own like a lot of DVDs. I own the Baccano DVD box set. So
it's a good box set to own.
It's a good ass box set. Baccano is an amazing anime, and it's never gonna get a second season because God is dead.
Nope. But Mob did, so that's what matters.
Yeah, and it's really good. Like. I'm really looking forward to the OVA. I don't know if the OVA is supposed to be, like, the Reagan, because, like, right now, one is doing a Reagan series with him and, I think it's Tomei. Is Tomei?
Yeah, it's Tomei, yeah.
Yeah. And I want to read that because, you know, that's good. That's two people making it up as they go in one manga. And I don't know
but
if the OVA
I
is
don't.
about that.
I mean, the series, like the anime, hasn't finished the manga. Like the manga's done.
Yeah.
Like, the original Mob Psycho 100 manga is done.
Yeah.
So they need to make a season 3 to finish it.
Is there still like manga for them to adapt? I thought.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Really?
There's a whole arc.
See, okay. Then maybe that's what the OVA is about. I don't know.
I mean, because like the season 2 ends with them looking at that giant broccoli.
Yes.
And I guess the manga is about the consequences of the giant broccoli.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. Cool. Good to know. That clearly means we need a season 3.
Yeah.
We gotta it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. I don't know what the OVA is about, but it needs to be either about that or season 3. Who knows? Yeah, the broccoli thing.
I guess we'll figure it out when we get there.
Please more. Please more Mob Psycho 100. Please more Mob Psycho 100.
Did you watch the recap special?
Yes. It's amazing.
That is so good.
That's the only. All recap episodes suck except for the Mob Psycho 100 recap episode.
It was so good.
It's amazing. Glorifying Reagan's heroics.
All those scenes of Teru or Mob, but it's got a big plastic Reagan head on top.
I think there's one of he does it to show too. And then all of the bit when like the telepathy club and the body improvement club, they all like in Teru and Ritsu, they all get to read the draft of the book, and you just see their expressions slowly change.
You see the what's it like accuracy percentage?
So amazing. It's the only good recap episode ever made. I'm sorry, Reagan, your book is a failure, but you rule.
He tried his hardest.
And it wasn't hard enough. That's the problem. Is that Reagan could probably actually try a little bit harder. That's the thing. Oh yeah, and the fact that Sari gets to work with them now. Serizawa, he works with them now. That's nice.
He's got to do. Serizawa's whole thing is great. I love that character. He's just like
he's so stupid. Boss, you're so cool.
He's so unaware.
I love the part where Toichiro is talking about like his world domination plans and stuff, and Shimazaki is like, "Man, it's fucked up." And then it cuts over to Serizawa, and he's like, "The president's so cool." I'm like, yeah.
So, he treats the president the way that you and I treat Virgil.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah, it's that one screenshot from Legend of the Galactic Heroes where it's like, yes, you killed millions of people, but you made me smile, so it's okay. That's what it is. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
I'm glad that Crazy Dad got his sort of. I mean, he's still a huge piece of shit, but he got his redemption arc a little bit.
He got a little bit better.
He got a little bit better. You know.
He got to have some dignity at the end.
That was nice. That was good. all these characters spend like very little time on screen, and by the end of the time you see them, you're like, I am so endeared to you right now. I love you. I would die for you instantly. So that's good.
I love that, like as much as Mob Psycho subverts a lot of like shonen cliches, the one that I'm glad is intact is, even though you beat the shit out of me a week ago, we're friends now.
No, but it's so good when Mob does it. Because the bit where he's talking to Sho and he's like, yeah, you burned down my house, but you have a shitty dad, so I guess it's okay.
It's okay, it's fine.
It's fine, I forgive you. The bit. I just love the whole everything. One, Shimazaki is so cool. Okay? Mm-hmm. Like, we have to talk that Shimazaki is really cool.
When that bit where he's like, oh, you've been storing power for 3 months? I've been storing power for 20 years.
Oh, man. Yeah. Not his dad. Not Suzuki. Shimazaki. Blind guy.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Blind guy is extremely cool. Like, he's a dick, but he's extremely cool.
So cool.
It's a huge problem, because he's just like, the way he uses his teleporting ability is how to do, like, a badass teleporting fighter.
The bits where he's teleporting and he is staying in the frame.
Yeah, and the background
is changing around him is like, oh.
That's disorienting. Which is the point. He's like teleporting terror around like wildly to like really disorient him.
Oh, it's so good.
It's really cool. It's really, really cool. But then the bit where Teru just lays him the fuck out is so satisfying too. And then he just pieces the fuck out because Reagan and Mob showing up is like traumatizing. He's like, no, I'm not dealing with this.
I love the fact that he's like, oh, that man can hide his psychic power.
Turns out being a psychic doesn't make you smart. You're still just an idiot.
How could he conceal his energy? Because it's inconceivable that a normal human would willingly wander into that situation
and just lay a dude the fuck out like that. and plus this dude who just showed up and knocked your teeth in, right? He shows up with like this kid who is like radiating god vibes. And it's like, this guy has got that kid on, like, under control. Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Peace.
Nope. Tapping out.
Bye, y'all. So, it's the best way to deal with a villain is just scare them away. That's what happened with Shimazaki.
I could watch that fight, though, like, over and over again. That fight
was
amazing.
It's so incredible.
That's how you utilize, like, that's how you interpret powers, like, in a unique way, you know? That's how you show mastery over that power.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god. And like, hey, do you love team-up attacks? Because episode 11 is for you, buddy.
That's how it happened.
There's so many cool team-up attacks when it's all of them versus Shimazaki. And the fact that it has to be, like, all of them versus Shimazaki to even disorient him.
Right?
You get the sense, you're like, oh, this guy is indeed on another level. And he still can't even comprehend Mob.
Yeah, that's... I don't know, I just love the way... I love how much one loves that character type.
Yeah, because it's in One Punch Man too, isn't it?
Like, how strong is this character? He's stronger.
He's just stronger.
The answer is he's stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, one does
So
such a
good.
good job of handling, like, having these, because it is that, like, Saitama and Mob are kind of, like, two sides of the same coin, where they're both, like, super powerful and don't know what to do with that power, and how they handle it emotionally is the driving crux of both characters. And it's just that Saitama is really depressed all of the time, and Mob is like, I'm just gonna try to be good at other things.
And it's I guess it's like, that's the kind of character that's the person you would hope would get that much power.
Yeah.
Is the kind who deliberately doesn't want to use it for selfish reasons. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even want to say evil, because, like, that's even a bit too abstract. It's just they don't want to be selfish or arrogant about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to, overly rely on it and have it be, like, the whole basis of their personality. It's that Twitter joke where having psychic powers does not count as a personality, you know? That's what it is.
That's exactly it.
It is. Psychic powers are not a personality. They're just a thing you can do. You know, there's so much more to yourself than just that.
Unlike,
what thing you're good at.
What is it? He's like, people who are good at math, people who are good at something else, people who have strong body odor.
Yeah. Or if you stink, that's not a personality, you know? You still have to be more than that. You still have to be, like... What was that? That was my dog just whining at me, sorry. You still have to be like a person, you know? Like with a personality, and you have to talk to people and have friends, and no man is an island unto himself, as they say.
And it's good. It's a good, like, it's the kind of low-key lesson that resonates with normal people, you know?
Yeah.
I just like it. I like it a lot. I like Mob Psycho 100 fucking a lot.
Mob Psycho 100 is, God, it's just amazing. It really is. I mean, we joke about the fuckiness of Reigen Aratako. It's just true. But other than that, there's also just, like, a lot of obvious passion and love poured into this. You know, there's... Hiroaka exists entirely to fund Mob Psycho 100.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Hiroaka looks good, but, like, Mob Psycho is on another level of animation quality and style and, like, just adoration poured into it.
Love. There's so much love in every episode. You just get the sense that everybody who's working on this show, like, really admires the source material and the art.
This is what you want your adaptation to be like, you know? Like, you want the amount of like liberty and life they bring. It's not so much recreating panels as they are, you know? Mm-hmm. It's you want that much energy and like obsession poured into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wish more series could get this.
Yeah, I wish that too. I wish Bones could adapt everything.
Right?
But Bones are truly, they have, like, really made a name for themselves as being the studio that does adaptations. Like, they do original stuff. I don't even know what their last original show was. I think, like, 2 seasons ago, they had the fucking, it was, like, dragons that turn into jets. I didn't watch it. But just the premise itself sounds pretty neat. So I might. But they've really just made a name for themselves as the adaptation studio, and their adaptations are so solid, every single one of them. And it's crazy, because I always thought Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like, looked good, and it still looks really good, but the evolution of their style and their craft from already amazing in Brotherhood to unmatched in MP100 is, like, watching that progression is so cool. You just get the sense of there's a lot of talent at Bones, and a lot of people who really, really know how to make a damn good anime.
People who really know how to do that and clearly want to make a good anime.
I love it.
It's so good.
I love it. I'll probably watch. The problem is, it's like, Mob Psycho 100 is so good, and there's really nothing coming out this season. So I'm just probably gonna watch Mob Psycho 100 a couple dozen more times. I
honestly, I want to do a part 2 episode of Mob Psycho 100.
Oh yeah?
Like, I want to, like, deep dive into it. Like, this is, like, I watched season 1, like, the gap between watching season 1 and season, like, this and rewatching it was so far that I might as well have just watched season 1 for the first time, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
Like, I would not be opposed to doing more of this.
It would be good. I think we should do another episode down the line to also talk about the manga.
Yes, we should do that too.
We could talk about the manga. I would really like to do an episode where we talk about, like, season 1 and more about season 2 and the manga, and maybe hopefully we'll get some news about like a season 3 or the OVA or something
like that. I don't know.
We still got broccoli to deal with, apparently.
Apparently. I mean, it was his first opening, too.
I know that broccoli is a thing, but I don't have that knowledge from the manga. Because the deal is that I really did not want to go into the show with any prior knowledge, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
Because I didn't want to go into season 2 with any knowledge of the manga, because I watched all of season 1 as its own contained thing. And I actually had to, about halfway, right before the Mogami arc started, I had to take a step back because I was like, oh, I know enough about this just from, like, being on the internet. I know enough about this arc that some of its specialness is being taken away from me. Mm-hmm. So I actually, like, unfollowed everything on Twitter and Tumblr about Mob Psycho 100. I was like, no, I actually want to go into the rest of this season completely blind. And just enjoy it for what it is, the way I did with season 1. And I instantly started having a better time with it. Like, 100%. So...
I mean, I think that's, like, a good way to go about it, but, like, it's not, it's got to be, like, a special circumstance, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think you can pull it off with Mob easier than you could with, like, other manga that are out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's, like, because I guess, like, what I want from Mob, like, on that note, is that, like, I don't want to be like, oh, they're doing this scene now.
Yeah.
I want to, like, see the spectacle for what it is, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand.
Like, I think, like, if you were like, oh, I know what's coming up now, like, that would kind of take you out a little bit of, like, what's happening on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like visual effect wise.
Yeah. But I also really want to read the manga.
No.
It's a huge problem. It's like, do I wait until, like, the OVA or this alleged, like, a third season? Like, what am I, like, which one am I doing? Should I wait?
Do you have the self-control to
wait?
To wait, especially after what's happened in season 2? Like...
I don't know. I don't think so. I probably don't. I'm probably gonna buy the manga and read it.
All these like crazy emotional hooks and character growth and
everybody's so amazing.
I can't believe we have a series like I think we have a character like Dimple who is as good-hearted as he is
somehow
and. Like, he's still a jerk, but, like...
He's a lovable jerk.
He's not really, like... He is the jerk character.
Right.
And you see how nice he is, and that's your bar.
That's the bar, is that the jerk character is still just, like, really likable, and he just kind of says like dumb shit sometimes, and that's it. And you're like, oh, everybody's like this, cool. Which is the point, I guess.
Yeah.
That, like, everybody has something kind of good going on in them. You just kind of gotta have to, like, ask them, be like, hey, take my hand and be my friend, and we don't have to fight.
Yeah. It's nice.
It's nice. Mob Psycho 100's really good.
Mm-hmm. So here's my question.
What's up?
For you. And after watching these fight scenes, have you ever thought about a Mob Psycho 100 fighting game?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. I just, because it doesn't seem like it would be in the spirit of it. But you have, so hit me.
No, my thing is, I was thinking, because, like, these fight scenes remind me a little bit of the Arena Fighter, the Naruto, and the Xenoverse style, like a little bit. And I'm thinking like, okay, if there was going to be a Mob Psycho 100 fighting game, and obviously you're right, it does go against the spirit of it, right?
Right.
But these fights are a big spectacle, and
they're very cool.
They're very cool looking, and you want to replicate that. So how do you do that by keeping the spirit? Is you make it like you would a traditional Dragon Ball Z or Naruto game where you just have all the characters in it, but in some one specific way, it's jank. Like, either, like, it's horribly imbalanced.
Of course, it has to be, right?
Like, something like that, or, like, it moves, like, too quickly to keep track of everything, or something. Like, everything else is played completely straight, but there is one
intentional jank.
One big part of the game that is just fucking broken. Like, so like it's a thing, like, there's no way you can play this competitively.
Okay.
Like, that's the only way to do it, is there has to be some sort of crazy barrier so there's zero chance
That is hilarious. That is a great idea.
There's no way to take it seriously.
That is awesome. Expressing theming through mechanics, baby. You got it.
That's how it works. Because I'm thinking, I'm like it would be so obvious, their characters are flying around in a big open environment.
Yes.
And they're doing the rush downs like in Xenoverse, and they all have unique powers, so you can build a moveset off of that.
Right.
But the truth is that these fights are not the core of the story.
Right.
So you've got to fuck it up somehow.
You have to make it completely unfun to play against another person.
Or not unfun to play against. Like, you have to make it unfun to play seriously.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because it's not meant to be taken seriously.
You can play it so that, we're having fun and look at this dumb stuff that's happening on the screen. But, like, you can't be like, no, I'm going to get good with dimple-possessed mob.
Right. That's great. No, that's such a good idea. That's hilarious. Theming through mechanics. That's a good idea.
I would love to see that. I would be the best to me.
You just play as Reagan, and that's the problem, is that Reagan breaks the game because he just talks his way out of every fight.
Like, the amazing thing is, like, if you think about it, you can totally do the Dragon Ball Xenoverse thing where you have, like, 4 or 5 different versions of mob. Because they're all, like, you can have, like, base mob and, like, the different 100% mobs and, like, question mark mob and dimple mob and...
Oh no, it's all Goku's! Whoops, all Goku's!
Oops, all mobs.
No, that's good. Put Mob in a Shonen Jump game. Put Mob in Jump Force, but have him be cell shaded.
It's Mob, but it's one style Mob. So it's just he's just completely flat.
That's
and
amazing.
Black and white.
Yeah, around these horrible janky 3D models. Oh, that's a good idea. We're geniuses. Give us money.
No, you put Mob in that style, and then you also have, like, Teru in Jump Force style.
Horrifying! Don't do my boy that way. My boy in his fucking Naruto haircut. That's all I ever think of. I'm sorry. Every time I see him, like with his, his new haircut, he's a Naruto, man. He's just a Naruto. Like every time I'm like, you're just a Naruto at this point, my dude. Yeah. Looks so much like it. Oh man. Okay.
Mob's fucking really good. And
it's so good. It's so good.
It's
Cannot
so
recommend it. It is comfy. I get into a bad habit sometimes where I'll like fire up like Crunchyroll, like I'm gonna watch something else, and then I just kind of end up watching Mob Psycho.
Go to Mob again. You just want to see what Reagan and Mob are up to this week.
It's gonna be the same thing every week for a while now. Mob Monday is gone.
No, God, I'm thinking again of just like little random bits.
Like
where
what?
It's the urban legend ghost doesn't affect Mob because he doesn't pay attention to those.
I want that superpower, man. I want to be able to be like that oblivious to events that I can just kind of like hang out and not be afraid. That's a great idea.
The fact that the human-faced dog is just an ugly dog.
It's just a dog with eyebrows drawn on it. God, Reagan Arataka he truly is the perfect man, isn't he? He loves dogs. He plants things. He's the perfect man. I'm gonna marry him. He's the only man for me. It's incredible. It's just the whole shot of just Reagan just washing a dog. It's just like, man, this show rules. Be nice to dogs. Be nice to dogs and to your brother's weird friend's horrible dad. It's all the same.
Just be nice. The ultimate lesson of Mob Psycho is just be nice.
Be nice to people, man. That's all. We're not good. We're gonna do another episode. We're not good, but we're good for now.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're gonna wait till there's more, and then we're gonna do more.
We're gonna come back. We're not done.
I have a lot to talk about season 1, and I didn't want to, like, we were saying, like, we didn't want to do, like, 3 hours tonight.
We would be here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, we're gonna come back and do more Mob, because Mob's worth it.
Mob is good. Mob is... I feel like if you just keep saying, like, Mob is, you find yourself inevitably singing, like, the Season 2 OP.
Oh. You know what? I do have one thing to say.
Yes.
About the intro to Season 1, and I noticed this because I just rewatched it. They skip numbers.
Yes, they do, because because the full song.
Well, no, I mean, like, I know they skipped from 40 to 80. Mm-hmm. But in the last chorus, they go 87, 89, 91.
Oh, yeah.
They skip 2 numbers, and I'm like, it took me like 5 episodes to really pick it up.
Wait, I didn't know they skipped 88. Damn.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They go 87, 91, 90, or like 80, it's 87, 89, 91, and I'm like, wait,
what?
What? And I rewound it like 3 times, like, yeah, they also skip 20.
Okay.
They go 19 to 1921.
Well, I guess I get that because it's like the beat, because even in the full version of the song, I guess it's like they're saying 19, 20, and then also 21 at the same time, if that makes sense. That's
what I think they're doing. Yeah, they go 21.
Yeah, and then they
22.
go to 22. Because otherwise it would you would be saying 20, you'd say 20, 21. It would throw off the beat of the song, I guess. I don't know. I don't write songs. I'm just an idiot on the internet to talk about video games.
Like, I've got to listen to the full version now to see if in the full version they also skip 88 and 91.
The mystery
88 and 90, because, like...
88.
I'm like, wait, did they... Because I'm also counting on my fingers, and I'm like, it doesn't add up. What? What?
There's a number missing. It's a conspiracy. We'll figure it out. That's what that's what the next episode's going to be. It's going to be us talking about the conspiracy of the missing numbers from the first Mob Psycho 100 OP. Okay. Are we good?
But it's good. It's good. Go watch season 2 if you haven't.
Please go watch Mob Psycho season 2.
Go buy the manga. Do what Reagan says at the end of every episode and buy the Blu-rays.
Oh yeah. I love all of those. Buying the Blu-ray? Also a good idea. It's amazing. Okay.
Alright. Thank you, Broke for Free Future background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity.
Yay.
You can also email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to more about some good characters with really strong powers, you can listen to some of the other stuff Sarah's done.
You could have gone with the angle with Fate, the fact that I'm playing a con woman, and you didn't.
I wanted to, reach everyone. Anything.
know.
You can start anywhere you want.
It's true. You actually can start anywhere you want in my other podcast. Hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games. We try out different systems. Right now we're playing Fate Core, and I am playing a con woman because I love Reagan Arataka so much that I'll never get tired of it. You could, if you want more of me doing my best possible Reagan impression, go listen to our Pig Smoke block, where I literally play a character named that is basically based entirely off of Reagan. Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of the game, but that was the one I was thinking of when we were talking about Reagan.
Yeah, Pig Smoke is my character in Pig Smoke is in the character generation episode. I literally cite Reagan as an influence in the character, and I do my best possible impression of being a nervous weirdo who's way in over her head. So you should come check us out. We're at Big A Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
All right, that'll do it for us.
Fuck that old guy who embarrasses Reagan on that TV show.
Fuck that old guy. He sucked, and I'm glad he got his comeuppance, because he was like, what? It was great.
He got to look like an asshole. Fuck that guy. And everybody else is great. Literally everybody else.
Literally every other character is great.
Even the assholes. It's amazing. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.